occasion is Crucible erupting. The last lap, 18 frames to become the champion. The first Welsh champion in 21 years. John Newton is the referee. The commentary team at the start, John Burgo and Ray Edmonds. Mark Williams to do.
Well, an atmosphere in the Crucible Theatre that sends tingles down your back. A wonderful reception. Standing ovation for the two players. And we could be due for a grandstand finish. As ever, the question is, will the less experienced player retain the composure that is shown throughout this championship?
Well, an excellent safety shot from Mark Williams. A few coming down having a look at this. The only red he can hit, it appears to me, is the one down to this right corner, so he may take the pot on. It's pretty straight though. Oh, what a pot. What a pot. Well, that was good cueing so early on in this vital final session.
Eight. Nine. Sixteen.
I posed the question as to whether or not he would retain that composure, and well, he seems to have answered that question fairly quickly.
$24. $25.
Well, I think he can get through to a red in the right corner. Maybe slightly awkward cueing, and he's looking for an alternative in the right centre. He's spread the reds now, so if you can pot a red and get nicely on a colour, could be a frame-winning break.
33.
Well, maybe concentrating on missing
33.
brown and yellow and relaxed. Surely he's not covered that red. There is one to the right that'll cut, and it's a thinner cut than the other.
Yes, good pot. And, well, it was Matthew Stevens who opened up the red, and to be honest with you, when he rolled the red in the middle, just an easy blue off the spot. And, well, this is a real good chance that Matthew's left. Particularly, yes, I say, with the reds being open. Doesn't have to do a lot of work, Mark, to make a break.
$11. $12.
Pink spot not available, but the pink going on the blue spot won't worry Mark
18.
in the least.
$19.
Well, he cannoned into a red. I think he'll probably play
26.
the red into the right centre now. Just roll it in. As long as he gets a nice angle on the pink, he's in perfect position.
27.
And there's another famous Welshman,
33.
Ian Woosnam, president of the WSA.
34.
He's flown back especially from Spain to be here this evening, and well, on the evidence of the first frame, it's going to be a bit of a treat.
41. 42.
And next to him, of course, the 1980 world champion, Cliff Thorburn, still so popular when he comes over here. Meanwhile,
49.
the way the balls are situated,
50.
well, I was going to say, you would say it looks a formality. It suddenly isn't. This is a thinner cut than he really wanted.
Well, he potted the black, but he's overrun the cue ball again. You wouldn't expect him to have a problem here. Already 24 points in front.
58.
But he's overrun slightly on the pink as well. He needs the pink and one more red to make Matthew Stevens really regret that easy blue he missed.
Well, that's worked nicely. That could have gone a little awkward.
65.
So we still haven't been playing 10 minutes, and one error from
72.
this man has cost him the first frame.
74. 77.
The crowd enjoyed that. A great start from Mark Williams to narrow the gap to just 1 frame now. 13-12 to Matthew Stevens. Well, what do you say about this Welshman? That particular one, Mark Williams, 6-12 down, 7-13 down. Now he's only 1 behind, Dennis.
Quite an incredible performance, and the 3 frames that he won in the end of the last session, they weren't big breaks, but one of the clearances, the balls were all tied up on the cushions. It was just quite remarkable. And Matthew looked so well there. He started off with a terrific long pot and looked as if he'd really settled, and then he missed that blue, and he's only made 1 mistake, so well, it's hard to predict what's going to happen here this evening.
One of his little omen, because that's the first time Williams has won the opening frame of any session in this final. Is he keyed up?
I'll tell you what, they're both very keyed up, and they're treating us to a real display of fine snooker here.
Okay, and the atmosphere here, as we were saying, down here at the table is the most unique in snooker, naturally. Less than 1,000 people, but all of them breathing down the players. 1 frame in it. Just remind you again, 18 needed.
You're Stevens today.
As John Newton gets them off for frame 26. John Newton, his first final, and a tribute to the fact that he retires at the end of this championship. But the attention on Mr. Stevens and Mr. Williams, and what attention it's meriting.
Well, there's a path through to this red. Thought he wouldn't be leaving anything unless he left the one that he took on, and unless that red goes past the edge of the pack to the far right corner, and from here it doesn't look as if it will. Well, the way Matthew's getting down and looking, maybe it will. He can play and stay on the black as a shot to nothing.
Well, he went for that as a shot for nothing. There is a red just detached slightly from the cluster, which could double into the left centre pocket. So we could be in for a little bout of safety here, particularly with the red in the balk end and that red near the blue spot. There's no safety at that end of the table, so it's Matthew Stevens rolling into them. Mark Williams rolling off them to the top cushion. May even, if it carried on too long, players, if they got bogged down, may ask for a re-rack. Good shot, but highly unlikely that Matthew would leave anything. Just going to come off the left-hand side cushion, dead weight, to run into the reds. Well, he's looking, if you come off the right-hand side cushion, how awkward that red would be to the right centre. I don't think he'd have to... Well, maybe he's a little bit concerned if he just hits the wrong red here. He may leave something.
Pitching ball.
Well, that's careless. He's left Matthew a chance of this red to the right centre, which, well, you'd think he'd take on.
Matthew refused this red to the right middle. Maybe it's a more acute angle than it looks perhaps on the screen, and certainly if it was possible it's easier from where Mark is than Matthew's position. So the snag is, if you're sure to leave a red on should you miss it. So he took the chance. So close, it's just caught the near knuckle, just shaved it enough to keep it out.
One.
Saw us in the first frame this evening. First chance falls to Matthew Stevens. Now, gives us an insight into how he's feeling. Let's see what he makes of this opportunity.
Four. Five. Ten. 11.
The black's not on its spot, and he's finished fairly straight. Trying to get close to the red that's over the right middle, but he's not on that certainly now. If he's fallen on the red to the left here, he's a little lucky, because he certainly didn't play the cue ball to be there. But it would appear he can get through to it. And now it could work out so well for him, because it's dislodged 2 or 3 more reds.
Well, in goes the blue. Nicely
24.
on the red, and the black available into both corner pockets.
25.
He was a bit fortunate with his position on the red before the blue, but well, it's all part and parcel of the game. When you get a kind run of the ball, you've got to take advantage of it. It can soon change.
$32. 33. 40. 41. 46. 47. 48.
54.
Well, the perfect angle to get to this red to the middle, but he also may choose to disturb the pink and the three reds. He wants a couple of these reds to make sure, and he'd be very unlucky not to drop on the one to the middle, even if he didn't get the connection on the pink correctly.
$60. 61.
So just this red, what a superb break this has been so far. Putting the black out of commission, and it's going to make it more difficult to mark. And he's had a quick look and decided that he really hasn't a lot of chance. So the two-frame gap is there once more. Matthew Stevens, 14-12 in front. And that really was a superb comeback after the first frame. Matthew could have been very, very disappointed, I think, John, after losing the first. And well, he had a bit of luck, didn't he? But that really was a superb break just when he needed it to settle himself down.
Yes, I think once you get to this stage in a match, in particular the World Championship, you've got to take everything that comes your way. And, well, Mark Williams didn't do a lot wrong, really. He went for that tricky red in the middle. And I think that's what it's going to be. It's the one who takes a chance, and if when they make a mistake, their opponent can punish them. But it's still very hard to pick a winner, because someone like Mark Williams, who
The 27th frame. Mark Williams today.
can get in a groove that can win 3 or 4 frames, no problem. But I've no doubt he was looking to win 3 of the first 4 frames, so these next 2 are very, very important.
Well, he's missed very few of that kind of shot throughout the 17 days. That was close, and he's a little fortunate again that the cue ball has gone near the cushion. It just makes this red a little more difficult. And made it look easy.
Hey. Nine. $16. $17. 22.
Well, just a little lapse of concentration there. I don't know whether he thought maybe the cue ball was going to just catch another red and take it away from the black. It's still on to the middle. But of course, with being so close to the black, he's unable to maneuver the cue ball far, and this is another very difficult red.
31.
Well, another great pot, but well, I can't see it going much further. Just rolling the blue in, and now a safety shot.
36. Mark Williams, 36.
So, some good pots in that 36 break. That's the lead, and a good safety.
Well, no seats available here tonight, obviously, and they love a close match at the Crucible. Whoever wins. And there's a familiar face with perhaps a more familiar voice, the voice of snooker for many, many years, Ted Lowe. He's sat in this chair a few times, hasn't he, John?
Yes, and he's in great form, is Ted, and it's always lovely to see him. He's looking well, the old boy, isn't he? Mark Williams there turned to be a little bit fortunate after missing the red. Once it double kissed the cue ball, it could have gone anywhere, but it looked safe enough.
Matthew having a good look there. If he catches this slightly thick, he could well push a red towards the right corner. A little bit pacey, and he's left the tempter.
Yes, and last evening I don't think Mark Williams had even thought twice about going for this red, but well, not a high percentage gain really. There's the pace he'd have had to play in it. Different Mark Williams, of course, today than in the first day of this match. Particularly last night, I thought he was too attacking. Today he's ready to grind it out to the bitter end. safety shot, that, from Matthew. And well, if he can't get past the brown to the red nearest the right-hand side cushion, then he's got a tough safety shot. Well, he just can, so play off this red with a little trace to the left-hand side to get the cue ball back to the balk end. Played it pretty well.
Matthew can get through to the red that's nearest the cushion behind the black and red, but just got to avoid the other red on the way back. That red to the right, halfway down the table. Well, good pace on the white, but possible pot to the left middle here. Very difficult to control the cue ball, though.
Yes, you say left middle. I think he may prefer to go this left corner. And just looking at it, if he was to stun the white to stop where the red is, I think he'd cover the one on the right-hand side of the table by the blue. He's not looked at that option yet. So that would mean that the red he plays is the only one he could leave. I think the problem with trying to pot the red in the centre is, as you say, where does the cue ball go? Whoa, strange shot. But, well, he's got it safe. Now, whether he could be snookered behind the yellow after this shot of Matthews or not, I don't know. Certainly a chance.
Well, good thinking.
He played the pot knowing that he wasn't going to leave anything with the yellow being there, but now he's created himself a decent chance.
Fine. Six.
Well, he made a mess of that. So when he potted that opening red, I thought, good chance to get right back in this frame, but the pink's still possible into the left centre pocket, but of course the cue ball's travelling away from the red, so you wouldn't think he'd take the pot on. No value.
You Stevens, 6.
Well, has he got a good cue ball? He has. It's always risky when you knock the ball towards the corner pocket, but didn't he judge the cue ball well? Well, it doesn't look as though he can get to the left-hand edge of the red he'd like to play to get back to baulk, and if that's the case, he's going to have a problem getting that cue ball back to back to where it is now. That's what he'd like to do. Well, the kiss on the green has helped him, but for that he would have left this red. Well, has he still left it? Well, he could just get through. Another cracking pot. Clean as a whistle. And nicely on the pink. He's got a 31-point lead, so the fact that the black's slightly tied up shouldn't really bother him. He's overrun this. No, he's lucky to be on this red. It's not the one he played for.
7.
And just signs that both players get a little bit anxious to me, Ray.
8.
I don't think there's any question about it, John. The nearer the finishing line comes, the prestige, the trophy, the amount of money involved,
14.
all start to weigh heavily. Now 45 in front, the blue will make it 50. He looks to have just an angle to get on to the next red. It's gone over. Good chance here to get back within one frame again.
Well, he maybe has got just a slight angle on the blue. Needs the blue and one more red. Played that well. Didn't have a lot of angle, and he made it really, using a lot of right-hand side on the cue ball. And he finished perfect on this red. And this red was all he needed.
27.
Back to one frame behind. Hotting up.
33. 34.
Well, Matthew had a chance. Let it slip when he played a poor positional shot on the pink.
39.
It was a foul stroke, that, but
That
the
39 number 12.
frame was over and done with. So, as John says, it really is starting to get warm in here. 14-13 now to Matthew Stevens.
Just 1 minute here this evening, and we've got used these days when you've got players like Mark Williams really potting tremendous balls, and especially they control the cue ball. Just have a look at this. There's the pot, and watch the cue ball. Put power behind it, and it spins back across the table. Well, if you're not watching closely, and Dennis here, we've got this new toy, haven't we, with the infrared camera. Let's have a look at it, because it really does show you the path.
That's a similar type shot. It's just off straight, the same as Mark was. Now, just look at the line that the cue ball comes back on. And it's quite remarkable looking at those pictures there. Here's another one. You can see the white stop, and then the spin takes effect. And these are the sort of things that you never realized happened.
How hard can you hit the cue ball?
Do you know, that's quite amazing. I mentioned earlier today at the speed that the players hit the ball. The maximum speed, apparently, that you can get out of a shot is something like, believe it or not, 18 miles an hour.
Just 18.
Incredible.
Well, it's certainly flying pretty fast here tonight, as you can see. 14-13. I've got a chance. I think I'll put the infrared camera on Dennis's wonderful jacket. That could produce a picture. But this is the picture at the moment.
So really, we could be all square after this at the interval. Just a little bit pacey on the cue ball, good pot. He may well take this yellow and just roll through. Well, no, there's a couple of reds in the open, so it's certainly, John, I'm quite convinced it's a more conservative and cautious Mark Williams. He'll go for the pots, but he's certainly not playing the outlandish ones, which he seems to be a little bit too aggressive maybe in the first two sessions.
Hit the pink.
Foul, the miss. Mark Williams, 6.
Well, there's quite a big target there. That's an unnecessary 6 points he's given away. Just coming off the side cushion into that, as I say, big target. Of course, you're always frightened with this that you just slide past the bunch of reds, and of course if you did that then he'd leave a red to the right corner, so he's favouring, or he's erring on the side of the pink. That looks better. Wonder how valuable those 6 points he gave away could be at the end of this frame. Well, he won't be pleased with that. Not the red towards the corner. Usually easy meat for Mark, these. But once again, he's not really controlled the cue ball. I can't say he didn't play with any confidence. I think he's just didn't get far enough into the cue ball. Pot the yellow this time, though. And now nicely on this red, and in potting it, looks to have the angle to just run round the back of the black for the same pocket.
Four.
And now he'll be playing for the red just to the left of the black. Of course, that out of the way, the black will be available into both corner pockets, so this is a reasonable chance. There's going to be a shot where he's going to have to disturb the cluster, which would be the key.
12.
But that red just loose. It is possible if he left the right angle on that, he could pot that and open a few balls at the same time. Now, has he done that? No. He's run too far for that, so pot this red, good angle on the black. And a lot
20.
now will depend how these reds open up. Well, it could have come better, but he's on one into the left centre, and I've got to be honest with you, we've talked about middle pocket potters, Ray. There's none been any better than this young man.
28.
No, he pots them in from very acute angles with absolutely no fear or favour, plays them in reasonable pace. And of course, in the old days when you had the heavy nap on the cloth, if you just rolled them in, you had to allow for the ball to go across. The modern cloths,
32.
and these lads were brought up on modern cloths, you just aim straight, and they've got such good eyes that they make it look easy.
39.
As we say, he's got a little more experience than his opponent, and just at the moment, he's starting to look the stronger. Moving round with purpose and determination, and
47.
well, a problem now for Matthew Stevens. He's been in the lead for so long, he could be going level within the next few minutes.
48.
Well, I think the blue goes. He's not got the right angle, so just a bit more work to do with the cue ball. The problem is with this, and I'll be talking here as if he was his opponent sat in his seat, you just feel that he's going to have to run out of position very badly not to pot the next ball once he gets his iron.
54.
So, this black and Matthew Stevens will need a snooker. And he's had his chances in these
51.
first 4 frames, but
62.
as of yet, he hasn't been able to convert them into match-winning chances.
Well, 74-point lead the frame. I would think definitely won. And Matthew is making a beeline for the dressing room. Lots to ponder on, but a magnificent display by Mark Williams. He looked down and out this afternoon. He's now level at 14 each. What a game this is turning out to be.
No, he is. Yeah, this is a big, massive test. He had a test a little bit against Joe Swell, but he was always slight favourite to beat Joe Swell. But this match, he hasn't been favourite at the start. But all of a sudden, he went to 1-8 at one time during this match. You know, and all of a sudden now, I think it's obviously Mark Williams will probably be favourite again.
Incredible. There we are. We've restarted. It's 14-all. The next session of play will decide who is to be the Embassy champion of the world. In the commentary box now, it's Dennis Taylor with Clive Everton.
Level with 7 to play for the Championship of the World. Stevens has lost 7 of the last 8 frames.
That was just an unbelievable pot on the red there. Straight out after the mid-session interval, first shot, and he knocks a ball like that in, and has given himself an early chance here to accumulate quite a few points.
9.
One of the troubles was that Williams got on the black wrongly. He didn't want to leave himself playing for this red and just put it a fraction too much on the far jaw.
One. 9.
Three of the first 4 frames this evening
16.
were won with frame-winning breaks. Matthew had a 67 that won on the 26th frame. And Mark,
17.
of course, had a 77 and a 67. But can they keep that standard up? When you get to this stage, it's only natural you could expect them to miss 1 or 2 pots.
Twenty-three.
This is some test of nerve and temperament for Stevens.
Certainly no nerves with that little cannon there. Because those
29.
2 reds weren't available until he made that cannon. Taking the pink, it'll give him better position on that red to the right. Now the only problem here is the pink's going to have to go behind the reds in a direct line with the spot. And I must admit, Clive, our referee John Newton's done a fantastic job in the final here.
He hasn't put a hand wrong.
35.
Now the problem here with the pink being at the back of the reds, if he cannons the pink full ball, it will stick on it, so he needs a sort of half ball contact. So it's not a good pack to split here. You need plenty of power, and you need to just more or less hit the pink just off center.
Well, he hit the bunch about. Perfect.
$44. $47. $48. $55. $56.
Well, he really is standing up to the pressure extremely well, Matthew Stevens. This has been a superb effort. And he has got so much confidence in his technique, and that technique is standing him in good
62.
stead here.
$64.
The burst of applause for the simple pink
70.
denotes that the audience has realised
71.
that it left Williams needing a snooker. Not that he's going to get a chance to play for any.
We've got to go way back to frame 17.
78.
Matthew made a century break.
79.
But this one coming just at the right time, regardless of whether it's
86.
a century or not.
'87. '93. 95. 98. 102.
Stevens' 5th century of the match.
'107.
And taken with great aplomb at a very critical juncture.
113.
The clearance of 120 enables Matthew Stevens to regain the lead at 15-14.
And that's the 54th century of this championship, one more than last year and getting close to that all-time record of 98. It's Matthew Stevens' 11th, and only one player's ever scored more than that in the World Championship. That was John Higgins in his year of 98 when we had that record total. He got 14. So Matthew Stevens producing there, a frame he needed to produce, John Burgo, and you were there on the first 4 frames. Your impressions of those? Now you can relax a little.
Well, I was amazed, really, because I thought now 14-all, it's going to get very tense, and Mark Williams makes one mistake, and Matthew clears up with a fantastic century. So Matthew, obviously, is feeling good and playing well.
The pattern of Mark Williams' play, he's been doing the right things and suddenly just misses a ball which you wouldn't expect him to miss.
Yes, well, you know, sometimes it depends how you come on it. He just came on that red a little bit funny and trying to force it in with pace, but one mistake and it cost you the frame, so the standard's high.
Certainly the standard is, and the pressure on Stevens, we talk about pressure all the time in snooker, don't we? But, he's underway here, he's back in that lead in what has become, as we're saying, the best of 7 frames for this anniversary Embassy Championship. And he's got the first.
I'm not sure if there is a gap through past the blue. In fact, as we just come around, you can see that he can, in fact, get through to that red. It's a dead straight pot, but the cueing would have to be absolutely spot on. This is a tough one. Where's the red? Almost going in off the white.
Not cuttable. The red near the left corner.
was a tough shot that he took on.
Thank you.
He's knocked a few of those in. But suddenly Matthew Stevens, well, right back at the table.
Six.
Can't hold for the black. As you can see, the angle's not there. He's got to come back down.
7.
Now, will he take the yellow and go into the bunch? There's 2 reds available that he can play on. He's got a much easier brown.
Hello.
Well, that's given him a bit of a problem. Yellow or green, he would need the rest. I don't know whether he might be able to reach with his extension. Much more comfortable doing that. Well, he's going with the rest, and he's never comfortable using the rest, Matthew. Probably because he doesn't use it that much. He's using his extension, but maybe just couldn't quite get to it that time.
One.
Won't go into them hard this time, just a cannon on one of the 2 reds there to open it up.
Eight. 9.
It was quite a thin contact. He couldn't really hold the cue ball. Wasn't quite as easy as it looked.
$24. 25.
Needs a cannon this time.
Very nicely, except that the black has been tied up.
$31.
I think he's in trouble now. He's on the blue, but there's no red available. He would have to cannon into them. Close to the cushion. It was not easy. Just try and get down,
36.
possibly behind the brown this time.
Mark Williams, 30 seconds.
Thinking of trying to roll dead weight to the red by the black, but terribly hazardous that. The bunch of reds itself rather loosely bunched, so there's danger here. Well, the angle is deceptive.
Another great pot into the middle pocket. We've talked over the years about Stephen Hendry, James Watsoner being the best middle pocket potters in the game, but Mark Williams is right up there. Didn't quite get the position that time, but he's still carrying on with this positive play, attacking play. But he's mixed it. He's got a good mixture. He's playing some very good safety with it.
Mark Williams, 1.
Yes, it is very difficult to get the white back down the table, so white on this top cushion, just a couple of feet from the pocket would do. Doesn't want to be too far over, or it's a very risky one that's next to the black, because if he takes it on, he's bound to leave one into the opposite middle pocket. So, and you can't see enough of the white to screw back onto the cushion. If the white was just further off the cushion, he could screw back behind the black. He's got to really get up in the air with the butt of the cue. Just making sure here. He wants to get the white back behind the black. He doesn't want to bring the red back up the table again, so he'll be hoping that the second red makes contact with the green or brown to stop it from coming back up.
Williams had the same problem.
And the speed of the cloth there is amazing, how far back up the table that red did come, and it is potable. And if the red goes in, he'd be very unlucky not to finish on the colour, but he's having to concentrate on the pot and just let the white It'll take its own course here.
One.
Could have finished a lot better than that. Bit of a dilemma now for Matthew Stevens with that red over the corner pocket. No straightforward safety shot. Maybe forced into taking a pot on that he wouldn't really want to.
The yellow is on, but it's difficult. And Stevens might also be worried about going in off in the middle pocket. The right middle.
Pink ball.
Well, he hit that one all wrong.
Matthew Stevens, 1.
And he's left that red and the pinks over the middle pocket. He was a bit unlucky with that pot for the white to finish near the cushion.
1.
It's one of those shots. He's finished dead straight on the pink, so can't do much with the cue ball. Just stop it dead, screw it back a little bit. But the reds are available. Certainly one of them is.
7. Eight.
Well, barring something careless now, it looks like we're going to be all square at 15 all.
14. 20. 21.
All the extra insurance that Williams needed to make sure that he levels the match.
He just so casually couldn't be bothered getting the extension out. He just grabbed the half butts from the side of the table. He's something else, this fellow.
Mark Williams, 24, and the first.
And once again, Mark Williams levels the match, this time at 15 all. You've really got to marvel at Williams's resilience. Down 15-11 to John Higgins in the semi-final, came through 17-15, down 13-8 midway through this afternoon, when it looked for all the world as if we could have an early finish, and back he's come to level with 5 to play.
Absolutely amazing. And then Matthew Stevens, when it's 14 each, what does Matthew do? He makes a break of 120. These two Welsh players, well, they're giving us such a feast of snooker, and as I mentioned in the studio, this is going to be the closest final for quite some time, Clive. We'll go way back to 1994 when Stephen Hendry beat Jimmy White 18-17. This looks like it's going to be one of those classics.
Yes, and I remember another final, 92, when Stephen Hendry was 14-10 down going into the final session and beat Jimmy White 18-14.
Thank you.
Williams could win, From only 2 behind going into the final session.
He's having a look to see if the red will pot. He can just see enough of it to play it as a shot to nothing. That one there, it's very, very tight, but you can have another close look at it. But his main concern will be to get the white back to the safety zone. Well, what Mark Williams looked at there was the red next to the black. He was thinking if he takes this on, would he leave that? Well, some of the shots he's potting here, the red was difficult, the black was equally as difficult, and if he takes this one on, it's even more difficult. One to the left, but just look at it, almost straight. Now, the cueing has to be absolutely spot on here. Might have been better leaving that one.
Williams 8.
He was having to strike downwards. Fortunate in a way not to leave something simpler. Stevens negotiates the tricky little cutback though, controls his position off the bunch, and he's well in business here.
Needs a couple of shots to sort it out though. Although the reds are open, they're all sort of covering each other, so not as nice as it first looks.
Six. Seven.
And if he's dead straight on the black, it's not going to be easy. He wanted an angle just to open one or two of the reds there, just to put them into potable positions. That's unlucky. That's the end of break. Play a safety shot, knock the red near the brown, back up the table.
Stevens 14.
realise he's playing in the final of the World Championship. Some of the pots he's pulling off. He's unlucky there. The red's not available to the right corner, but he's not missing very much here.
Right, Williams in.
This is the Crucible. This is where you test a player's mettle. You see how much heat it can stand.
He's got a bit of a problem because if he comes off the two cushions and nestles onto that one, he'd be okay, but he could leave a pot on here. So he's played it off. That was risky. Might have been better trying to nestle onto it to try and hit two cushions and just clip the red. It was a very, very difficult shot.
One. Eight. 9.
He's gone too far. He had a choice of reds there.
16.
Had he stopped shorter, he had the one to the right. I don't think he can get through to this. Well, he's bending it round the other red. I mean, the risk with this... Well, he's quickly changed his mind. Oh, is there a... No, I don't think. I thought there was a red onto the plant, but it's not on.
Right, William, 16.
But he's keeping the pressure on at the moment. Might be a little bit unlucky. Mark might be able to get to the potting angle for that red. He's having a long, hard look. Can't quite see from that angle, but I think he can see enough of it to take the pot on. I'm not sure whether he didn't get a bad contact. The red seemed to straighten up there. He's been very lucky to cover it, but I think he may have had a bad contact. Can't really tell from that shot, but it seemed to straighten up there.
I heard a sharp intake of breath from Williams. But as you say, Dennis, no harm done. Stevens, in fact, has got to think about covering the red near the left corner so that Williams can't pot it.
It's when you get to this stage, that little bit of luck can make such a difference. I suppose earlier today Matthew was getting slightly more run than Mark, but Mark's certainly had his fair share since then. Yeah, he tried to disturb the red while taking the cue ball down the table, but well, if Mark takes this pot on, the natural angle will take him into the red just before the bunch, so anything could happen to cue ball if he takes this pot on.
Those shots are always tough. High risk for uncertain gain, but again, he's come out well.
Yes, because he didn't make the potting angle, he avoided the cannon into the reds. Hit it far too thick. But what a result he's had there. He's going to have to give this a bit of thought. Just a quick glance just to roll up into the reds. Even that's not guaranteed to leave things safe. Well, it looks as if Matthews decided that there's no safety shot on and he's going for the pot, and what a shot this is he's taking on. He's got away with it. He's held his hand up and a little smile there. They're both smiling because they both thought that the reds were going to go everywhere there.
Yes, but Williams was lucky the last shot. He couldn't have a match, played in a better spirit.
That red will pot up into the corner pocket. But what a risky one. He would only take it on if he can't find a good safety. If he could avoid the blue and the red with the white, he would have a go at it, but just looking at it, the white's going towards the blue.
Played it in such a way that he thought that the red that he attempted was the only one he could leave.
And he's potted some fantastic balls into the middle pockets. This is equally as tough.
I'm surprised that Williams didn't make sure that he got the cue ball on the other side of the table, because he would then have prevented Stevens having a shot at this red beneath the blue.
What a temperament this 22-year-old has. That was Terrific.
Eight. Nine. Sixteen. 7. 24. 25.
wanted the white a bit further up the table to pop this one and just run through for the black. Can't do that now. In fact, he can't avoid the cannon onto the other red, so got to be a wee bit careful here. Might be easier to screw back towards the blue rather than try to get to the black. And if he screws back off the other red, it's one of those you've got to be careful you don't go near the middle pocket with the white. So just those couple of inches have made all the difference here. Perfectly played.
36. 37. 44. 45.
'He keeps responding to the pressure. Mark Williams already needing a snooker.
52.
And you've got to admire the play, and Mark will admire the play of Matthew Stevens.
Matthew Stevens, 52.
Well, all he had to do was roll that red in. Why he played position for the black, I'll never know. He was 44 in front. Okay, Mark needs a snooker, but in fact, it's only 34 up. Incredible.
1.
Well, that could have a huge bearing on this match. Stevens looks certain to regain the lead.
Seven.
But if Williams could clear up here, he would get his nose in front for the first time since he was 4-3 in front.
11. 13.
Bit of a bad contact there, but he's still okay. And just going back to that red that Matthew missed, he did need to get on the black, and that was the reason he missed it. He still should have knocked it in, though.
16. $20. $25. $31.
Stevens was within a couple of pots of regaining the lead, but it's Williams with that cool 38 clearance to win on the black, who leads by 16 frames to 15.
Yes, as Clive was saying there, looking at the mathematics of what's become a bit of an epic final. That's the first time that Stevens there has been behind since frame 7. My goodness, that was a long time ago. Sunday tea time, when Williams led at 4 frames to 3. And I'm just wondering, John Virgo, what effect that might have on him. He's been leading all the time, big leads and everything else.
And seemed to be handling it all very well. And it just came down to one ball. And as you see this red, he pots the red, just needs the black frame over, and he's hardly missed any type of red like that.
And he stayed down on the shot, looking down the queue. I don't think he could quite believe that one.
Well, I couldn't believe as it happened. It looked a formality, but of course, it's frames like that that can swing matches round, you know. I mean, and he'll be sat there now suffering, no doubt about that.
He is suffering, without a doubt. I mean, I haven't seen him like that. He's been sat there normally just staring in, nearly always frowns, but sitting there staring around saying, well, I'm in the lead, I've got it, this great row between the two. And I just wonder now if memories of that UK Championship, when he had it there for the making against Williams and missed the vital black and lost it 10-8. I think people do remember these sort of occasions.
They do, things come back to haunt you, you know. But it's a funny thing, you know, sometimes. But when you lose a frame that you should have won, and Matthew may think he missed the red because he just twitched on it or something. I don't know, only he would know that. But in a way, because it cost him the frame, it could have a reverse effect now, and he relaxed and said, right, don't do that again. You know, I've seen people miss easy shots, and all of a sudden, it's like it sparked them into life. So, I still wouldn't like to pick the winner.
But Stevens here has got to put that out of his mind, of course, and he had to sit there for quite a little while, possibly thinking about it, as Williams went out of the arena. Psychological point?
Well, I think Mark Williams thought that was a real big frame. Lucky to get it. He's got his nose in front. Why not go now and just get your thoughts together and focus now 2 away from a world championship?
And 4 to play, perhaps.
Well, got the cue ball round behind the back of the black, but has left Stevens a red within potting range. Black tied up, but may be able to get on pink to middle.
Well, he's been so successful with that extension on the cue, but that last frame will just take a while to get that out of his mind. John Virgo said in the studio now, that Mark Williams has got his nose slightly in front. Suddenly the pressure reverses, so it's all fascinating stuff here. Decent chance now because the black is free.
Fine.
At the moment it's free into one pocket, but Matthew can play on that red that's next to the black, and that will open it up into both corners.
Look. 12. Matthew Stevens, 12.
Unforced error. So, some signs that Stevens is beginning to wilt, but there's still time to come back.
He's got a great positional shot, but having to force it. Missed the brown. It's all hotting up at the Crucible. But still far from easy here. If he gets onto the blue, it's not a good target to open the reds with the pink as it is. And if he plays for the pink, he's got to be absolutely spot on.
1.
In fact, very little chance now of potting a colour and getting into the reds. Could do it from the green. That's if he can reach it. Big shot around the back of the black, off the side cushion and into the reds. And now they're both worrying more about the cue ball than the pot. Now, has he been lucky or has he left it? Yeah, he can't get through to the potting angle. The fact it's touching helps Mark. Well, that's just as good as a snooker. I think all Matthew can do here is come off the back cushion and just land in the reds. He won't want to try and come back down the table. It would be far too risky. And if he does play off them, he'll have to be careful he doesn't catch it too thick. Trying to get the white back towards the black by the looks of things, but that's awkward. He played it well. worth checking to see if there's a plant on, but I don't think those three are in line for the corner pocket. Having another look at them. Well, they're not quite on. You would think that it would just hit the right knuckle. If the two were closer together, he could play the squeeze shot. He's still getting back down the table. The black and brown is available. So it might just squeeze it. One.
You were right about the right knuckle, Dennis, but it was on the inside of it.
Six. Seven.
Well, there's a little bit of pressure on this pot. We checked to see if the red at the back of the bunch of six was available into the right corner. That's just pure pressure.
Matthew Stevens, 7.
And it's quite understandable. Both players at the moment you just don't realize how tough it is out there.
One.
Well, if the pink won't spot, what a bonus that'll be. John Newton getting his ball marker out there just to check. And it doesn't look as if it's, well, it's very tight. Mustn't be touching the red.
7.
That's made a big difference. He's still got the black over the pocket, but the pink on the black spot would have been very useful.
Eight.
This has got to be very precise because the black will go back on its own spot. That is never easy to get onto that lone red.
15. William, 15.
too bad in the end.
Matthew Stevens, 7.
The blunder was counting black in the first place. Williams feared it would leave an easy red. Not too bothered about the 7 points.
Yes, he could quite easily screw the white down the table, but he's reluctant to open the red, so he's leaving the problem for Mark, putting him back in again. Oh, he knew exactly what he was going to do.
That's Sintu Pulsirivong, Thailand's Mr. Snooker. Very important growth area of the game.
Yes, and always makes you very welcome. He's there with his lovely wife. When you travel to Thailand, the hospitality is second to none. Oh, it's a bit early days, but a long way into the frame, and already we could be thinking about a possible re-rack. If we could get a touching ball, it could resolve it.
Yes, only 5 reds in the bunch, so the referee John Newton could let this run a bit. It's not as if there were 10.
Can Mark see enough to get the white back down to the balk area? White's close.
Foul. Matthew Stevens, 4.
But at least we're back to normal in the frame.
Too much chance that Williams would play a good safety for Stevens to put him in again.
The problem for Matthew is there's only the green to try and get behind. The yellow's off its spot, the brown's on the cushion. So very little space to put the cue ball in.
Relied mostly on length, but hasn't got the cue ball tight on the rail.
Yes, it may have looked a little bit wild, but Mark Williams wanted that white back down the table. A little bit fortunate to cover the red there, but he got the white exactly where he wanted. Bit of a hole here is Matthew. The only red he could get back down the table off is the one that's near the corner pocket, but he'd need a very thin contact to return the white to a similar position to where it is at the moment. And the in-off's on there. Not sure how much of this he can see. Can't be very much of the red available to him. Where's that red going to finish?
One.
Oh, the tension's biting now.
Mark Williams, what?
Shake the head. Play the cannon onto the pink. But he's gotten away with it. He's been very fortunate. Missed the cannon on the pink, missed the pot on the blue. But how lucky was he there to cover this red that's near the corner? So at the moment, the running favouring Mark Williams.
Eight hours for 31 frames, spread over 4 sessions.
Well, that's amazing.
Foul. Matthew Stevens, 4.
That's 15 points in foul shots. This time I don't think Matthew's gotten away with it. The red will go to the middle pocket, I think past the blue. Got the other one to the right corner, but he preferred the one to the middle pocket. It must be pretty tight. You would think it would go in off the blue. Can't quite see from this angle. Well, that was a good pressure pop there. But look where the cue ball has gone.
So instead of an easy continuation by means of the blue, it's finished pretty awkwardly.
Mark Williams, what?
No point in attempting a pot just for a few extra points. The idea is to try to create a frame-winning opening with the snooker. He's enjoying it, despite the tension.
Well, that's very delicate if he comes off the side cushion to get the one to the left of the black spot. If he hits it, he could put the pot on. If he goes around the back of it, he could leave the pot on. He could go across the table and try and land on this one near the side cushion, but even then, he could leave a pot on. And a miss will be called.
Foul, the miss. Mark Williams, 4.
And we're still, it could be a free ball. He's got to be able to hit the reds on both sides, and he can't. It's a free ball. He'll take the blues, the extra red. And he nearly missed the pot. The white's in. That was a terrible shot from Mark Williams.
Well, perhaps he had to hit the blue thin, but surely not that thin. I'm sure when Stevens left the free ball last shot, he feared the worst.
Oh, that's incredible. That really is incredible. What a pot from where the cue ball was.
What a mixture.
Mark Williams won.
Brilliance, blunders, it's all here.
Well, this is the Crucible, Clive. These players have given us everything. Frame-winning breaks, centuries. But at this stage, anything can happen.
The cut was on the thin side, but kiss means that only a long red is left.
Well, that was a little bit risky, and he's got away with it somewhat. He brought all the reds into play, but one of them's gone safe next to the yellow. And this one's not straightforward along the cushion. Still going to need the tough red, the one that's next to the yellow. And if he could get on the brown, he could leave an angle to pot the brown and move that red. Checking the scoreboard. If you could pot the red, pot the brown, move the red into a potable position, he would leave Mark needing a snooker. Well, he didn't fancy running through for the brown. to see if he could leave a snooker. But he's got a long way to travel to get up to that red. Shots that they're missing at the moment are the ones that they're having to really force.
Stevens knew that he got to get the cue ball near the red to play the snooker with the necessary delicacy. Easily the longest frame of the match, this.
Well, don't know about that choice of shot. You've got to make sure you keep the object ball safe. He wasn't sure what was going to happen to the red there.
So red-pink would be enough for Stevens.
Still can't ease up, although Mark needs one snooker. He's got to be careful, and he can't roll the yellow towards the bottom pocket. Doesn't want to leave the pot on, because the balls are ideally placed for snookers. He could maybe try and pot the yellow in the bottom pocket and screw the white back towards this cushion, with a chance of a snooker if it doesn't go in.
Matthew Stevens, 7.
This is close. Now, if you can't see the edge of the yellow, because the white is so close to the cushion, it's very difficult to swerve around the green. So it's a risky situation now. White was just a little bit further off the cushion, this would be a straightforward swerve shot. Got to be very accurate with this. Well played.
He flukes a snooker back, which is very easy to hit, but it restricts Williams' choice of shot.
He's got him again. And this time he can't swerve around the pink because it's a full ball snooker. He could, but it's even more difficult than the previous one. Oh dear. But he's left a chance for an even more difficult snooker. Mark needed to be tight in behind the brown, and it would have been very difficult to escape from. Got to be careful he doesn't go in off, and he's missed it. And it could be a free ball.
4.
Not that the free ball is going to make a lot of difference, I don't think. John Newton has refereed this final impeccably, having to put the ball marker there to see if it is a free ball or not.
Free ball.
Awarded because Williams can't hit both edges of the ball on the yellow.
But it's no use to him, really. He's not even going to bother taking it. There's no real advantage. He can't take a pot on. He can't play a snooker. In fact, he's putting Matthew back in again.
So a chance for Stevens to pop the yellow, which would put Williams at the snooker's required stage again.
Now, where's the cue ball going to finish? I think it's going to be in the gap. And what a frame this is for Matthew Stevens to fall 17-15 behind. It'll be a mountain to climb.
Two.
It's always a setback when you lose a frame in which your opponent has needed a snooker. This could be one of them, but Williams has still got a lot to do.
Williams 2.
Matthew can see enough of the green. It's a very thin contact. He's got a straightforward safety shot. Chance of a snooker. And he hasn't played it very well.
Yes, he had 3 colours to hide the cue ball behind there. Not easy though, that green, at that speed and at that distance, against the nap. Sigh of relief time for Stevens and his supporters.
Yes, he's looking at the scoreboard, and quite rightly so. He's got to pot the brown. He just wanted to roll it towards the pocket. Mark can pot the brown. He'll only need 1 snooker on the blue to tie. So 1 good long pot, and we're all square.
Stevens 7.
A 37-minute frame, full of mistakes, full of drama. But Matthew Stevens has levelled the match at 16 all, level with 3 to play.
Well, here we are, 16 all, 3 to play. The Embassy World Championship, the Crucible, has done it again, and if you're checking your Radio Times or your newspapers, don't worry, we're going nowhere, except right here with Mark Williams and Matthew Stevens. I can tell you the film Death of a Gunfighter, that's been cancelled, and we're staying here to say who stays alive with Mark Williams and Matthew Stevens. The film will be shown at a later date, but this is right now. It's the longest frame by a long, long way. They're getting up to stretch their legs a bit. Look, 16 all. It's now the best of 3, John Virgo.
Yes, that was probably the worst frame of the match, but what an important one for Matthew Stevens. And, well, I think we saw the two sides of Mark Williams in that frame. I mean, tremendous ready potting. And then the next shot missed an easy green. And it just seems to me sometimes when he gets a bit of tension in the arm, he just hits the ball a little bit too hard. And if you do that and don't hit the cue ball in the middle, you put a little bit of unintentional side on. And, of course, with that power, it pushes it away from the pot. So
he was doing that a bit last night, wasn't he?
Well, last night he was a lot more aggressive than he's been tonight, but there was a few shots he played. He's such a great potter that when he knocks them in, you think, well, good shot. But whether they're the right shots to play at this moment in time or not, I don't know.
Well, here he goes again. This is 33. There's only 35. First time 2 Welshmen have ever been at this Embassy World Final. Nobody's won it from Wales since Terry Griffiths 21 years ago, and what a treat they're providing for us here. Best of 3 for just under £250,000.
It's a lot of money, but I'm sure players at this point regard it as incidental, because this is about glory. This is about winning a first world title. There's the great 73-year-old trophy. Trickier shot for Stevens from near the baulk cushion than it would have been from the D.
That's a very useful nudge. Can't get through to that red. Can't get to the... Well, we can get to the one near the pink, but he needs a thinnish contact so that the white doesn't go in off. Here we go again. Might find himself in behind the green this time. Yes, he's blocked all the routes back to the baulk area this time. You can only see this red. It's near the left side cushion. And he may just have to try and pot this red. He couldn't see a safety shot.
Yes, he knew that he was leaving red to the opposite corner pocket if he missed that.
One.
Now the problem here, if the pink spot is covered, there may be enough room on the black spot. And that would put both pink and black out of commission. I'm not sure if that red is close to the pink spot. No, there's plenty of room there. In fact, it looks as it'll even pot into the right corner. But he hasn't got on the red as nicely as he would have liked.
$13. 14.
He's just gone a bit further than he wanted. He wanted to be able to take the white up the right side of the table. Can't quite do that now. Well, he still managed it, and if he's got on that red to the left of the black, he's judged that to perfection.
19.
Didn't think he could avoid those two reds.
20.
Well, touch of the wobbles there.
Mark Williams, 20.
I didn't expect Williams to miss that black at close range.
Yes, I think at this stage now it's who can hold their nerve, because they're quite liable to miss all sorts, as was proved in the previous frame. It's hard to describe just how those players feel out there. And he doesn't look too relaxed either, does he? using the rest, the extension. And he's got to judge this pot correct.
Eight. Nothing Stephen's head.
Now, Stephen's turn to put one on the far jaw.
One.
He just looks a little bit tense there. Wondered how he managed to miss that, but having said that, Mark didn't play a good shot there. He had quite a margin of error. He's got a long way to travel with the cue ball, and just looking at the reds, there's nothing much available, just the one to the left of the pink, and
Fine. Six.
And there's a gentleman, a good friend, Ian Woosnam, knows all about pressure.
Williams a strong favourite for this frame. Now though, if he can stay in close, Terry Griffiths, the last Welsh champion here, 21 years ago, who has described this as the greatest day in the history of Welsh snooker.
22. $29. 30.
It's always nice when you get the balls situated like this. He's looking a strong favourite now, 49 in front.
37.
Well, he knows a little bit about pressure as well, since Nazim.
38.
He'll appreciate that Williams is going for the knockout in this frame at this visit.
$45. 46. $56.
Williams well past the post. I can afford to play this shot in that unorthodox manner.
And that's quite remarkable also.
Mark Williams, 56.
And with that 56 break from the Stevens mistake, Williams goes 1 up with 2 to play. He leads by 17 frames to 16. Terrific atmosphere, Dennis. Terrific tension.
It is unbelievable. I've thoroughly enjoyed every bit of this final, and I think all the audience in the Crucible have been treated to a magnificent display by these two young Welsh players. It really has been something special, and okay, we've had a few misses, but that's going to happen, but they're coping so well, and all credit to both of them. It's just a shame that we're going to have a loser this evening. So who's your money on, the left one or the right one?
Well, Williams, of course, would be the first left-hander to win this championship. Harry Vaughan's got to the 78 final, and Jimmy Wright, of course, got to 6 finals, and Williams got to last year's final. But no lefty has won yet.
It's a snooker. It's a good break-off shot. Easy to come off the side cushion, though. So he tries a very thin one to get back down the table. Quite easy to catch the jaws of the pocket and come back into the bunch. And that's why he changed his mind there. The first chance either player will get will be up to the balk area. And that's it. If that's a touching ball, it could have sorted out the problem.
Pitching ball.
Too much pace, but the reds are tightly bunched, so no problem. Well, I don't think he can see enough of the red, the one that's to the right of the bunch. In fact, he's having to swerve around the green, and this is a little bit of a risky one. He wants to just catch the edge of the red and swing it back down the table, but you can see him applying the side there. Yeah. And this is where it's a difficult situation for the referee to get the white back in exactly the same position. He'll have a good idea where the white was, but I'm sure Matthew will help him out. That's the beauty about this game of snooker. Great sportsmanship. Players still declare fouls on each other, and Matthew will make sure that he doesn't gain an advantage here. So the same shot, just to catch the red on the edge.
That wasn't the edge. But nothing easy left.
Always a chance of that happening, but Matthew did get
Williams what?
himself left in a snooker here with that fluke.
One.
He picked one out there, didn't he? But he's straight on the blue, I think. Maybe a slight angle. If he is straight, he can screw back to where the white is at the moment, but that's not going to do him a lot of good. He can pot the red then to the left of the bunch, but he'd be going into the cluster of reds then. And not straightforward by any means. Well, is he going to risk it? Is he going to pot this red? Is he going to screw into the reds? Is he going to open them all over the table? Is he going to finish on a color?
Excellent pot. Couldn't be sure where the cue ball was going, but he has a cut to the right corner with a red sitting over the middle, so it doesn't matter if he takes the cue ball away.
Well, that last shot he played with the extension, what a brave shot it was. And the chances there. Matthew Stevens can't do anything about this at the moment. Mark has created this chance. All Matthew can do is
19.
sit and wonder how many he's going to score.
$20. $26. $27.
Mark Williams had one hand on the trophy there. If that yellow had dropped, it was a great chance.
One. Seven. Eight. Fourteen. Matthew Stevens, 14.
And there's another one of those forcing shots. That's the type of shot they've been missing in the last two frames. And when you're under extreme pressure, it's the type of shot that you just put a little quick one in.
One.
Stevens wondering if he's going to get another chance this year.
9. Sixteen.
The red that's
17.
towards the right cushion, not the right side of the table for Mark, being a left-hander. But he's got close enough to it, and this is looking ominous.
23.
He needs the
24.
blank. He needs another red. Doesn't have to worry about position. It's one of those little tricky ones along the cushion.
But that was effectively for the championship. 50 in front, 43 on.
Mark Williams, 32.
Not quite over the line, but just about as certain as you can get.
He's done remarkably well. A little shake of the head. He can't quite believe it. It won't sink in yet. Matthew checking the scoreboard. Two 4-point snookers required. But if this red goes in, I'm sure Matthew Stevens will be the first to shake Mark's hand.
Not just yet, though. What a final we've had from these two Welsh wizards.
Matthew Stevens led 13-7. It was a commanding lead. Another couple of frames and it would have been an impregnable lead. But Mark Williams showed amazing resilience to recover, to win by 18 frames to 16. Williams wins a wonderful Embassy World Championship in a wonderful final.
Ladies and gentlemen, the new Embassy World Professional Snooker Championship from Wales, Mark Williams. Come on, Johnny. Two to a final, Matthew Stevens. Still friends?
I hope so.
Matthew, you what?
He's got a shock, they're not friends no more.
You want to do it now? I've been rehearsing all day. I had to say congratulations in Welsh. I'll keep it till next year, I think. But a tremendous performance, and your first final here. Tell me about it.
Well, everything was looking good at 13-7, but to be fair to Mark, you know, he played brilliant to come back. You know, I think he's won 7 out of 8 to go 14 each. You know, that's why he's winning the Bowen, and good luck to him.
Good luck indeed. You've had 2 bites to the cherry, and this year you got it right.
Yeah, I mean, I got it last year, and a bit of pressure told in the end, you know, I was never in it, and it looked like he was going to run away with it at one stage, but I managed to keep in there, and, you know, played quite well to come back.
Making a habit of going a long way behind, aren't you?
Yeah, the last 2 matches I've been behind, you know, and come back, which is always nice, you know, and you know, the crowd was fantastic. They always are here, and I look forward to coming back next year. But I would like to say a big thank you. It was John Newton's last time refereeing here now, so I think he should have had a round of applause.
And haven't you managed to win a lot of money for a friend of yours?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, you got a bet somewhere. I think it's 42,000 or something, you know. And
I think it's about 140,000 for putting on 140 when you were 11 years old.
I think it's 40,000 or something.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I think you'll be having a few drinks tonight now. Might buy me one.
He might buy you one.
Thank you.
I tell you what, when you came out here to play the final last year, you said, if I win, I'll buy a Ferrari. You lost and still bought one. What are you going to buy now?
Pass.
QE2, probably. And somebody tells me that well before this final, you thought anything he can do, I can do better. Haven't you got something being delivered tomorrow morning?
I was going to have a Ferrari, but now I lost. It's going back, and I'm going to have a, I don't know. I'm going to have a Mini or something now, I think. I'll probably have a caravan or something, I don't know.
Anyway, it's a great night for Wales. Just take your seat for a minute, if you will, because I got something rather important for you. So you just take your seat, Matthew. Because this is the time when it's a little matter of what we call wages time here. Will you welcome on the presentation party, Mr. Graham Blashill, Managing Director of Imperial Tobacco UK, Mr. Ian Woosnam, the new President of Wales, and Mr. Peter Dyke of World Promotions. So, first of all, the cheque to the runner-up, £140,000 plus another £20,000, because he had that wonderful 143 to the high break. Matthew Stevens. And now, just a shilling or two short of £250,000, £240,000 to the new Embassy World Professional Champion, Mark Williams. The cheque and the trophy, and they've been to the supermarket, a magnum of Lonson champagne. It always comes by tradition. So, ladies and gentlemen, your new champion, Mr. Mark Williams. So as they take the pictures, the applause rings out. That's it for another season of snooker here on BBC television. We'll be back next season. We will be back here, I can tell you, at the Crucible, as the Crucible will celebrate its silver anniversary of snooker. But on this great night for Wales, from the BBC snooker team, Nushta.